All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today and see, if these two Google searches, local search and city search, have BSS, yes or no. So we're here in the GBC universe, taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And, more about that, pinned post, pinned video, home video, whatever. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Those that are rising are doing a good job bringing in people from the entire intent ladder here, from the left high intent all the way to the right, the lowest intent peeps, or at least generating awareness. And the ones that are falling are, you know, missing some chunks of intent, some intent chunk somewhere, causing them to fall. So here we're focusing on BSS. We're way over on the left, the basically the intent ladder. The highest intent people list people searching social search on all the social networks or on Google for, boudoir photo shoot in their city. As we focus on here. Then way at the end, focus on BLCS, Boudoir Low Click Syndrome. That's the other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. On our other profiles, where right now we're only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But those are the lowest intent people, but that's the largest group in every city. The people that are not searching for boudoir photo shoot right now. So we're only talking about the two kind of extremes at the moment. All right, so BSS, Boudoir Search Sameness. As when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google. If we got 0 slots, we're dead. That's because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches, which means this is who we care about. This is the bulk of the market, approximately 80% of the market. And we're invisible to them if we're not on page 1. So 0 slots, we're dead. 1 slot, we're also basically dead because we're looking the same as every other boudoir photographer who also has 1 slot. And then, there's 10 slots Google page 1 organic. So, if everyone's a boudoir photographer, they all got 1 slot, then basically the buyer's just going to click down through, open everyone's link, everyone's website on page 1, because we assume they won't go to page 2. And, contact everyone, price quote everyone, price shop everyone, whatever. And so 1 slot's not good either. We want to actually, our goal is to hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10, because we'll actually be kicking off our competitors off page 1 a large amount, and we'll actually be standing out, most likely being the only one with 3 out of 10 links there. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Extremely common, but not normal, is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are, one, basically everyone knows about, market saturation, and one basically nobody knows about, the false belief of page 1 equality. So first we'll hit market saturation. It seems to happen kind of every week. Someone gets a new iPhone, start up their Google My Business profile, throw up their website saying they now offer boudoir photo shoots, saturating the market, more sellers for the same number of buyers. Or someone gets a new camera, then they start posting in the mom Facebook groups saying that they offer boudoir photo shoots now. So market saturation means more sellers to the same number of buyers, making it harder for every current boudoir photographer that is a seller. Now, this next one is massive, the false belief of page 1 equality. So this is, from what I've seen, the number 1 killer of boudoir photography businesses, because this is assuming, so the belief of page 1 equality is, which I'll show as a false belief, is we're falsely believing that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google search. And so, if you got 1 slot on page 1, cool. If the market gets saturated, you get pushed down. Now you're on page 2. Oh, that's fine. Everyone gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. That's simply how it is. This is a false belief. It's false because Google will actually give as many page 1 links as to the person who puts in the effort to acquire them. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 page 1 links to 9 out of 10 page 1 links. Literally, I own 90% of the organic search surface in 10 days Why? Because I wanted those slots and I went and took them. I put in the effort to take them. Google gives the slots to those who puts in the effort to take them. We'll see that in like 3 or 4 pictures from now, or maybe, yeah, somewhere around that number. So it's a false belief, which makes people do nothing. If they believe this, that everyone's entitled to 0, 1 slot, every boudoir photographer is entitled to 0, 1 page slots, page 1 slots on Google, they'll do nothing. They'll be like, oh, this is reality operating normally. Yeah, I was there, I got kicked off. Hopefully someone shuts down their website, so maybe Google will bring me back on. No, incorrect. Google wants to give these slots to those who want to put in the effort to take them. And because people go on page 2, they disappear, and eventually their business disappears too. Because again, if you're on page 2 or later, you're invisible to approximately 80% of the Google searchers. So the bulk of the market. We also know that a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So we got our building up our universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So, and disappearing boudoir photographer, this is the canary in the coal mine for eventually a disappearing boudoir photography business, is if we got 0, 1 slots on page 1, eventually we'll be kicked off to page 2, and then it's all downhill from there. So it's a solution. We got the solution here. BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S-cubed methodology. And we know this because we invented it. That's what we've been using. So this is exactly what I used to go from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in 10 days. And it works with saturating social search, the high intent keywords, saturating those. So people search on social, they find us, the bulk, hopefully all, we're like the only ones showing up. And as a result, that flows through to Google page 1 search. Dominating Google page 1 search is the outcome, the outflow of dominating or saturating social search. So it all flows, saturating social search is like the river at the top of the mountain, the glacier at the top of the mountain that's melting, and the river at the bottom, the Amazon River, is all that work saturating page 1 on Google. And I know this because I've done it. Now, once true with the S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility. Nice. We're no longer at 0, 1 slots on page 1. We do want to hit the GBC minimum, though, with 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And that's because if we got 3 out of 10 slots on page 1, we're definitely crushing the people that got 0 slots. We're definitely crushing the people that only got 1 slot, because they look like nothing compared to us. And it's very rare someone actually has 2 slots. But even in that case, we are looking greater than them because they only got 2 slots. We got 3. People subconsciously wonder, why is this photographer why does Google keep pushing them? They must be good and give them so many slots on page 1. The extra bonus of using the S-cubed methodology is it kicks competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. Is the same for social search, but kind of what we're talking about on Google. It's only 10 organic slots page 1. Kicks them off, and as a result, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches. So approximately 80%, the bulk of the market's never going to see those competitors if they go to page 2, which means we're not being price shopped against them. We're not being, price shopped, price compared, getting quotes from everyone. I mean, if we can get 5 links organic page 1 on Google, that means only 5 links left for other competitors, and we've kicked off 4 other competitors back onto page 2. Instead of 9 competitors, we're competing against only 5 other peeps. Get smaller the more we dominate page 1. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. Okay, people can actually see us because hopefully we've hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So this is the goal. It's kind of the minimum, hitting 3 out of 10 links on page 1 to become visible or confidently visible. And we care about the 3 out of 10 number because if we hit 3 out of 10, we're probably, treading water. Probably not disappearing, we're at minimum treading water, and also could possibly be most likely growing. Because remember, this is the result, the outflow of dominating social search. So anytime if we're multiple slots page one on Google, we already got way more than that. Multiple slots page one, many more on these social networks. People search these highest intent keywords. So Google is kind of a less than filter. So this is our universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. It's fine, we got the solution now. Utilize S-cube methodology. Achieve page one visibility. Become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. So now my own results using this. You can see I wanted to rank for this term BLCS boudoir. So we'll go down to the organic slots. So organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Organic slot 2, me. Organic slot 3, me. Organic slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. Dude, I did this in 10 days. Got 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. So I know for a fact S-cubed methodology got results for me. And I achieved this by social search saturation, S-cubed methodology. All right, so now we're here, the main event. You're gonna see that this boudoir photography business has BSS for their local search. You're gonna see if they have it for their city search. All right, so here we go. Boudoir photographer, Roseville, California. So let's see what we got here. All right, we got one. Let's see. All right, we got 2. All right, so we got 2 out of 10. So we do not have BSS for the local search, but we did not hit the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So now let's look at the full city search. Sacramento. So let's see here. Let's see, we got nope, 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 nope. Nope. All right, so it looks like we got 0 out of 10 here for Sac. All right, so we're missing a bunch of Sacramento peeps. All right, so final verdict, we got, well, we do not have BSS for Roseville, the local search, but we did not meet the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10. And for the city search, yeah, we got BSS. We're at 0 out of 10 there. And we're actually, we also did not meet the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 organic page 1 Google slots. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done your local search, you've done your city search, and you actually see, you've got BSS for either or both of them, or you're not meeting GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 Google slots for either or both of them. And you're like, all right, you realize you got BSS, you understand page 1 equality, there's a false belief, and you're like, all right, I broke through that. I need to achieve, I need to get as many page 1 Google slots as possible. And you also understand the market saturation with, new iPhones, more boudoir photographers coming in, new cameras, more boudoir photographers coming in. But you're also looking ahead and you're saying, man, AI is taking a ton of people's jobs. Last time a bunch of people lost their job, COVID, a huge tsunami of boudoir photographers coming in. So you've actually decided, hey, you got to fortify your life right now and actually get as many page 1 slots on Google, which is only a downflow of getting as many page 1 slots on social search for all the social network searches. That's downstream of that. Before all these boudoir photographers come into the market, come into the city, and start making their websites, ranking, competing for page 1, kind of like prepare, kind of like the levees in New Orleans, since the city's below sea level, kind of like build those levees up to prevent prevent floodwaters or the flood of boudoir photographers from taking your market share. And you're seeing, okay, SQ'd methodology is the only solution that can get me there effectively. And you want to achieve page one visibility, hit the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10. Become a visible boudoir photographer, have boudoir search visibility, because you know you need this on your way to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also know that you actually, there's actually hidden back-end benefits of doing this SQ methodology as well we have not talked about yet. First one would be in kind of, we're building thematic keyword columns about around our brand name, our social handles, our website, and all that. As we do SQ methodology more and more, it increases the probability we get actually recommended for AI overviews. Here at the top, premium placement, only one slot for local search and city search. And you also want the back-end benefits of every time we execute another day we execute SQ methodology, increasing the probability we get recommended through all the AI search engines, ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. These all run on, thematic keyword clusters, authority, age. And so every day we execute the SQ methodology, we're increasing that, probably getting recommended there. And we know more, literally, Google still has, I believe, like 89 or 90% of global search share. But due to AI search, using more and more and eating into Google every single day. I haven't used standard Google search in literally like a year to actually click websites and open and read stuff. I've always been using the Google AI mode. And so you want these back-end benefits. You also decide you want to be the first mover in your city, because you recognize, my current plan is to only work with one person per city on this. So you kind of want to box out your competitors and kind of achieve all this front-end results, hit the GBC minimum, 3 out of 10 on page one, kick out competitors off page one, effectively make them invisible to approximately 80% of searchers who never go to page two, and build these momentum on the back end, which is higher probability AI overview, higher probability being recommended AI search, and higher probability nobody in your city ever catches you. Putting more distance between you and them, by building up this thematic keyword columns attached to your brand for the backend for AI search engines to be recommending into the future. Because I know last time I used Google or ChatGPT to search for boudoir photographers in a city, dude, it recommended, it only gave me 3. I'm like, what? There's like 60 in this city. It literally only displayed 3. So we want a higher chance of being those 3. And you also know if someone else in your city jumps on this first, they lock you out, well, you're gonna have to derive or figure out SQ methodology on your own, and then you have to go execute it, but you won't be confident executing it because you don't know if you even derived it correctly to use it correctly. And then you'd have to equal our output with your competitor to just maintain the gap. You'd have to actually exceed our output with your competitor for us, to actually make up ground on us, and kind of take back the momentum that we're building in the back-end AI search and the front-end results we get kicking you off page one of Google. So you've decided, screw that. I'd rather be the first mover in my city, give myself the highest chance of blocking out all the boudoir photographers coming from AI. They're going to be forced losing their jobs, but people still got to earn money. And you decide SQ methodology is the solution you want, the path you want to take. So shoot me a DM. Not right now. My DMs are full, or my DMs are closed. The hospital we're not taking any new patients right now. But